The Saints draft is complete, but did Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis pick the right players? Mike Detillier weighs in. Plus a hugely successful draft for some former LSU Tigers, with 3 going in the first round. Despite a 6-hour rain delay, the Zurich Classic enjoyed a thrilling finish with a playoff tomorrow. And former LSU pitcher Aaron Nola is finding his way through the major leagues.
This is the last word on sports. Fourth Down on 4 starts now.
The Saints add 5 players they hope will upgrade the defense and a pair of offensive players, too, in the 2017 draft. I'm Doug Mouton. Welcome to Fourth Down on 4. Now, Mike Detillier will join us in a minute to break it down. The national experts say the Saints did okay. None of these major websites had the Saints class in the top 10 overall. Sports Illustrated gave the Saints a B+. That's the best of the 4. CBS Sports gave them a B, USA Today a C+, and the Sporting News gave him a C. Sean Payton said for the Saints, this draft was about value.
We felt pretty good about how these values fell. I mean, more so this year than I can recall in a long time.
For Sean Payton and the Saints, that started at the top of the draft. A run on offensive players dropped the draft's highest-rated cornerback, Ohio State's Marshon Lattimore, right into the Saints' lap.
The New Orleans select Marshon Lattimore, defensive back, Ohio State.
A team's draft musts don't always match who's next on the team's board. But in this case, Sean Payton said, it did.
Me personally, I feel like I'm physical. I can tackle, competitive. I have great ball skills and all that.
He's smart. He's got extremely good ball skills, explosive.
Both Payton and Mickey Loomis confirmed the Saints loved Texas Tech quarterback Patrick Mahomes. But they said if both had been available, they would have taken Lattimore. Payton said Lattimore was one of the top 4 players on their board. Getting him at 11 was great value. The same goes for the second first-round pick. Wisconsin tackle Ryan Ramczyk actually went to 4 different colleges before winding up at Wisconsin. A great game against LSU in the Badgers opener helped springboard Ramczyk.
I went from a little D3 school to D1, and it was because I want to push myself. I want to see how good I can be. I want to see how great I can get myself. So self-motivated and a very hard worker.
Payton said Ramczyk's grade was in the top half of round 1, and no other player available at 32, he said, was close.
With Ryan, for us on our board, there was a big gap with our grade with him to the next group of players. So we felt like it was a good first day for us.
In day 2, the Saints made 4 picks, and Mickey Loomis was just as pleased.
I think we've helped all 3 levels of our defense, defensive line, linebacker, and the back end, and we were able to get a player that we coveted on offense. We're really excited up there about the players that we got tonight. I think we helped our football team.
The Friday foursome began with Utah safety Marcus Williams.
The thing about this kid is that, look, he's a ball hawk. He's had 10 interceptions, in the last 2 years, and he's, again, a really smart player. That's a theme here that we've got, and we're excited about is that, man, these players we're getting are really smart players. A guy that can be, with time, be the quarterback of the defense at the back end. So we're excited to have him.
And the Saints got 2 more defensive players in round 3. Loomis described Florida linebacker Alex Anzalone as a smart, instinctive playmaker. The big question about Anzalone, his durability. He was hurt a lot at Florida. And at the end of round 3, they took a shot at a pass rusher with Florida Atlantic's Trey Hendrickson, who Loomis called a high-effort guy who was highly productive. And for the 9th time since they won the Super Bowl, the Saints traded up. They traded 2 picks for 1 to get Tennessee running back Alvin Kamara. They gave up their 7th-round pick to get him and next year's 2nd-rounder. Kamara will be the 3rd down back. The Saints loved him in that role after a personal workout.
You go through the process, and there are a few guys that just stand out, and he was one of them. And afterwards, when we got on the phone yesterday, I said, hey, those might have been the best 11 routes or the best decision to go get your cleats on that you've made in a long time.
In this particular case, we looked at it like, hey, here's a chance to get a guy who was really ranked pretty high on our board. As I said, we're talking about him in the top of the 2nd round, and so it's like, hey, we get our second-round pick a year early. That's valuable.
The Kamara trade left the Saints with just one pick Saturday. Sean Payton said they waited for a round and a half, hoping to get a shot at Miami defensive end Al-Quadin Muhammad. Off-the-field issues dropped him to the Saints in round 6. With Hendrickson, that's 2 guys who the Saints hope can help their pass rush. 5 defensive players out of 7 picks. Both Loomis and Payton said they were very happy with the way the draft played out. Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis are pleased. Certainly they'll say that. What does Mike Detillier think, the WWL radio analyst? All right, first of all, generally speaking, you like what the Saints did in the draft?
Yeah, I do, Doug. I mean, you're not going to fill every need. And nothing's going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect in life. So you got to understand, but you did go out. Before the draft, what was the biggest needs? This team needed a cover cornerback. They needed an young offensive lineman, an edge rusher, somebody who could play in the deep center field. And how many times have we heard it? When they're going to replace Darren Sproles? Well, you got a lot of that. Now, there was no Superman. Nobody's going to come in here and fix your pass rush right off the bat. Very few of those guys breathing that could have done that coming out of this rookie class. So you know what this is going to be? Defensive end by committee. And last year, Cam Jordan got 7.5 sacks on one side. The other guys, if you turn up Ellaby, Paul Kruger, Kasim Edebali, they couldn't even get to 7.5. You've got to figure it out. But you did help yourself out. You're much speedier today, better in the matchup game, and now you got a new toy for Peyton to play with on offense.
Let's talk about Lattimore first. To me, it seemed like when you got to 11, the best cornerback in the draft at a team that needs at least one cornerback, that was a no-brainer. I'm guessing you like that one, right?
Yeah, because everybody felt he would go from 3 to 7 in round 1. He falls to 11. Now, they can say, oh, well, the draft fell that way. No. Basically, I think some teams were concerned with the hamstring issues, which I would have been concerned myself. But a lot of that can be cured with diet and stretch, everything else. When you watch him play, no one had much success going his way. And he was a shutdown guy. They were throwing more toward Connolly's side of the field. They weren't throwing at Lattimore. That's an excellent pick. And when you look in this division, twice a year you got to play Julio Jones. Twice a year you got to play Mike Evans. Twice a year you got to play Benjamin. You better be able to find somebody that can match up with him.
And you mentioned the defensive end by committee. Did they do enough with Hendrickson and Muhammad to maybe give them a chance to be better rushing the passer?
Well, they can't be too much worse. So, no.
27th last year, you
can't get too much worse. So, does it help? I think with Kakaha coming back, Alex Okafor, we'll see what the young kids can do. But I don't expect anybody from this draft class that's going to come in and hit out. If they get a guy that can come in together and figure out 5 sacks between the two of them, I'll take that. It's still a major need for this football club. That part is non-debatable. It's still a major need, but at that point, you can't fill every need.
No, right. And I thought on offense, really, you spent 2 offensive picks and you got a tackle. This team was woefully thin at tackle, and you got Alvin Kamara, who I know you love.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Thing about it, offensive line up front. Look at the youth. Teron Armstead, and then you look certainly Andrus Peat, Larry Wolford, and now you bring in Ryan Ramczyk. None of them are older than 26 years old. You got a young offensive line for a long time. Now, you got the elder statesmen in Unger and Streiff. You've really helped out there. You got the best left tackle in this draft class. He's going to play on the right side. And finally, you have found the guy to take the role of Darren Sproles and Alvin Kamara. And one thing I like about him is he don't have a lot of mileage on the car. I'm still trying to figure out how they didn't use him at Tennessee. He's going to be an instant impact player for the Saints as an edge runner, receiver coming out of the backfield. And now, when you look at the other teams, how they were trying to match up, try to guard him when he comes out of the backfield. It's going to be a major, major problem for teams. And I hope it means this football team will spend a lot more time running the football early in the game to set the pace.
No doubt. Mike Detillier, terrific job as always. Yes, they figured out a way to get it to Reggie Bush and Darren Sproles a lot. Kamara's got a shot. It was a fun draft. 5 players on defense. Hopefully this team helped themselves. Mike, thank you.
Thank you, Rod.
Back with more 4th Down on 4 in a minute. Coming up, 3 LSU Tigers took the spotlight in Philly at the NFL Draft, but this year's class ended up with a number of other local players too. But first, we'll recap a breathtaking finish at the Zurich, where one team drained a 94-foot chip shot to force a playoff. And later, we'll catch up with Nola in Philadelphia as he begins his third Major League season. A 6-hour rain delay put a damper on round 4 of the Zurich Classic, but no doubt the new team format was a huge hit. The Saturday crowd was the biggest at the Zurich in a decade, and the players loved it.
And I have players send me emails after missing the cut. Usually guys are a little disgruntled after they have to leave town early. And I got a number of emails last night saying, what a hit, I can't wait to come back next year. So yeah, it's very gratifying to have that from players.
And obviously, they hope that translates into an even better field next year. The first team golf champions in New Orleans, well, we don't know yet. Of course, the rain delayed things enough that 18 holes ended in the dark with a playoff coming tomorrow. Leslie Spoon reports from the TPC Louisiana.
Jonas Blitzt and Cameron Smith were atop the leaderboard Friday night and Saturday, but late Sunday found themselves trailing Scott Brown and Kevin Kisner, who birdied their way to the top. Down one stroke, Blitz birdied 16 to tie it up.
I kind of was really aggressive the holes before, and I told him that I'm going to be a little less aggressive on 16, and I got the perfect numbers. I didn't tell him, but it was just perfect numbers. I just had to go at the pin, and it worked out.
Smith, who's looking for his first PGA Tour win, birdied 17 to give the duo the one-stroke lead.
Both hit really good shots in there. If I missed my putt, Jonas was probably going to make his. So, yeah, it just felt really free over the putt.
Even though they birdied the final 3 holes and finished all 4 rounds bogey-free, it wasn't enough. Kisner and Brown birdied their first 6 holes and then the 6-hour weather delay, but it didn't kill their momentum. They came out to birdie 4 more, and then walking down 18, 1 stroke behind, there was no way they were going home empty-handed.
Oh, I knew I was going to make it the whole time. Nah, just kidding. I just told myself to get it there. He had a great shot. I thought I had a chance, and, you know, we had birdie. We knew they were going to make birdie, so it's just one of those shots that you dream about.
Just moments after the shot, it was still hard to believe.
I don't know, man. It's too much to think about right now, but I just was trying to make sure I got it to the hole, and I did, and just glad it stayed in there.
Kisner and Brown have been friends since they were 10 years old. This tournament is perfect for them.
We love the format. Obviously, you know, we play together quite a bit at home. We kind of sneaky practice for this event last week at home together, and I feel like we were prepared for it.
Brown grew up with his grandparents right next to Augusta National. In fact, the course has tried to buy their house. A Zurich win isn't an automatic qualifier for the Masters, but it's a great start. Maybe enough to qualify through FedEx points or by world ranking.
Growing up that close, being able to play there is something I've been dreaming about since I was 5 years old. So it'd mean everything.
If he keeps playing like that, he'll play plenty of Masters.
So all it's going to take is one good hole tomorrow morning for either team. Blitz says it's going to take a birdie or an eagle. Pretty easy, right?
I guess it was easy for Kevin on the last hole.
One more hole.
Reporting at the TPC Louisiana, Leslie Spoon, Eyewitness Sports.
All right, thanks, Leslie. Blixton, Smith versus Kisner and Brown. An incredible finish today. The sudden death best ball playoff begins tomorrow morning at 8 on the 18th hole. Still to come, Leonard Fournette and 2 former LSU teammates had a ball this week at the NFL Draft in Philadelphia. But another Tiger had to play the waiting game this weekend. And former LSU pitcher Nola has had success in the majors so far, but injuries are preventing him from reaching his full potential. With New Orleanian Leonard Fournette leading the way, LSU had 3 players taken in the first round of the NFL Draft for just the 3rd time in school history. And Lions Yellen was in Philadelphia with all 3 Thursday night.
And action.
By Thursday, it was obvious Leonard Fournette wouldn't be the NFL's first overall pick, but he did wind up being the first to stroll down the red carpet in Philly. Taking it all in stride, his calm, cool, and collected persona was on display for the whole world to see.
It also helps me out a lot to know I have two former Tigers that's with me who worked hard just as me, and we all in the same position.
And because of it, none of them had to wait long to hear their names called.
With the 4th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Leonard Fournette, running back, LSU.
And just like that, Fournette burst through, unfazed by the heavy burdens of expectations he's carried since his teenage years in the 7th Ward.
It's not pressure, man. I think I'm built for that. You know what I mean? My environment, I'm tough. I'm built tough from all that, so it don't bother me at all.
Fournette became the first of 8 Tigers selected in this year's draft. The second came off the board just 2 picks later.
The New York Jets select Jamal Adams, defensive back, LSU.
Honestly, I couldn't hear much. I was crying, but at the same time, I knew that they wanted me. They told me that if I slipped to 6, which they didn't see, that it was a no-brainer that they were coming to get me. They kept their word, and I'm proud to be a Jet.
Adams' flair, along with his passion and confidence, seemed to fit perfectly with the bright lights of the Big Apple. Plus, his connections to the city run deep.
My mom's from Yonkers again, and Pops played up there. Sister from Jersey and cousins, came down. So yeah, I've definitely been up there. It's a crazy area. Somebody told me it's an angel and it's a devil at the same time. So you definitely got to just soak it all in and do the right things and you just enjoy it.
With Adams headed to join Gang Green, Tre'Davious White became the lone Tiger holdover in the green room. But as he watched the Saints and Ravens each snag corners, he knew his time was coming.
Once Marshall went and then Marlon went, I feel like, it was going to be a flow of DBs going. And I didn't know when my name was going to call. I just knew it was going to be soon.
The Buffalo Bills select Tre'Davious White.
You never know how this process may go. So they always, a lot of guys tell me, it may be the team that you didn't even meet with. So, I just took that perspective. I took it all in perspective, and I came in it. A team may tell you they like you a lot, but you never know. So I expected the unexpected, and that's what it was.
And all 16 of LSU's 17 draft-eligible players were either picked or signed with NFL teams this weekend. That was expected. What wasn't? Malachi Dupree's long wait. A projected 3rd rounder, he slid into the 7th before Green Bay finally took him with the 247th pick. Still, he and the rest of the Tigers will get their shots, and that sure makes Ed Ogeron plenty proud.
Just a great night for the LSU Tiger family.
Lions yelling, 4th down on 4.
And the 4 Tigers Lions didn't mention Ethan Posick in round 2 to Seattle. Duke Riley and Kendall Beckwith both go in the 3rd to the Falcons and the Bucks, and Devin Godchaux went in the 5th to Miami. And 4 other local guys got drafted. McDonough, 35, and Louisiana Tech wideout Carlos Henderson went to the Broncos in round 3. Lakeshore High and Oregon State safety Treston Deku to Houston in the 5th. Vanderbilt Catholic and UL Lafayette running back Elijah McGuire to the Jets in the 6th. And Tulane's Tanzel Smart went to the Los Angeles Rams with the very next pick in the 6th. We're back with more 4th down on 4 in a minute. He's 23 years old. That's a major league toddler with 14 wins already. But Aaron Nola has already faced some big league setbacks. Lions Yellen caught up with Nola in Philadelphia.
In 3 years at LSU, Aaron Nola blossomed into one of college baseball's best and most decorated pitchers. As a result, the Phillies selected the Baton Rouge native with the 7th overall pick in 2014. Unfortunately, though, his precipitous rise to the big leagues has been marred by a few setbacks along the way.
It's still fun for me. I embrace every moment of it, and just to be around these guys and now be around these veteran guys that help you out, and you get to be around every day is pretty special.
After just 1 season in the minors, Nola seemed to have no problem adjusting to life in the big leagues, finishing his first season 6-2 with 68 strikeouts and a 3.59 ERA.
I got the opportunity to come up here in 2015 and there were about 13 or so games and get accustomed to the life over here and to the to baseball itself, and I'm just trying to keep progressing going forward.
However, injuries have made that increasingly difficult. Last year, a sprained elbow ended his season prematurely. Now, he's been sidelined yet again. Nola was originally scheduled to pitch on Wednesday, but was scratched with a minor back strain. The team placed him on the 10-day disabled list. He says he's just trying to be cautious.
Just some back stiffness. I don't think anything too serious. So I'll be scheduled for my next start.
Only today we learned Nola suffered another setback and will remain on the DL for now. The club saying he won't return until he's 100%. In Philly, Lions yelling, 4th down on 4.
Thanks, Lions. The Phillies say Nola is improving, but not 100% yet. The Zurich playoff, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. It is free for fans. It'll also be on the Golf Channel. For Leslie Spoon and Lions Yellen, producer Danny Rockwell, and photographer Adam Ney, I'm Doug Mouton. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on 4th Down on 4.